My name is Giani Russo, a.k.a. Carlo, the infamous son-in-law from The Godfather. I'm now known as the Hollywood Godfather, and this is my story.
Before all of the wins in my portfolio, I was a little boy diagnosed with polio. Experimenting with cures, I tried every one. Felt everything in my right, but my left was numb. Walking with a limp, like will I ever run? Once again, or is this it? Am I forever done? Living in the hospital was never fun. Some people were cool, but not everyone.
Welcome, everybody. It's time for another Hollywood Godfather podcast. And I'm happy to say we're in our 15th season. Our listeners are up to half the main show. And tonight we have a special guest. But let me introduce the lady first, because my grandmother raised me right.
That's right.
Jeannie Raymond, please.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited for this podcast today. We're super excited to have our guest tonight. And boy, I'll tell you, I was going through and stalking you, making sure I knew a little bit about you before we got you on here, Matt. But this guy, I'm telling you, he's done a little bit of everything. It's Matt Servitto, and I'm telling you, everywhere I looked, you've done so many different things. You've done movies, you've done TV series, you've done All My Children. My goodness, yes. You're a soap opera star. I was just watching and then thinking, oh my goodness, talk about well-rounded. You've done everything. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited.
Matt, thank you. We're really happy to have you.
Well, thank you to the two of you for having me on. Yeah, truly an honor to be here today and be in your company. And yeah, I mean, the same way you did a deep dive, Jeannie, I did a deep dive as myself, and I'm just like, wow. I got to say, it's amazing. One of my favorite things is the longevity of your career, Jono, is amazing to me, because I'm just coming up on 60. I'm 59, and I have such mad respect for people that survive. And not only are you surviving, you're thriving, and you're somebody to look up to be 80 years old and still kicking and be passionate about what you're doing, writing, music, podcast. I'm like, wow, I really, so many people feel like it's over at a certain age, and your age is just a number to you. And so I'm super happy to be here.
Well, I don't know if you know a little about my past. My upbringing earlier was devastating.
Yes.
So with that, I mean, but coming from you with all your accolades, I don't even consider myself an actor because I never studied. I had one acting teacher, Marlon Brando, and that was it, and was off and running. But what's interesting, because I'm mostly a businessman.
Yeah.
And then when I saw how much money The Godfather made, I produced 16 more movies myself.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, and it is, as you said, it's the whole, acting thing. People ask me all the time, when did you decide you want to be an actor? I'm like, I still don't think I've decided. It's like, I've been doing it for 30 plus years, but some people like, oh, I knew when I was a kid, or when I went to high school, I was in the high school play. I'm like, yeah, I never had that sort of epiphany. I just sort of fell into it a little bit like yourself. As a way to meet girls. I went to an all boys Catholic prep school in Detroit. The only thing we did with our sister's school was theater. So I'm like, okay, freshman year, they're doing West Side Story. I'm like, I'm in. Oh,
wow, that's great.
This is where the girls are. And I absolutely fell in love with the whole experience. And, it was amazing, because there was a lot of amazing girls, but it was also like to be with my buddies on stage singing, There's a Place for Us, or Tonight, or any of those great songs, from West Side Story. And it all of a sudden became spiritual, but I still didn't really think it was I'm coming from a pretty, like yourself, Gianni, I mean, a pretty kind of gritty Italian-American upbringing in Detroit, blue collar.
Nothing better than that. Nothing, no education.
No, listen, they came off the boat and they went right into the factories and made a fortune. These were guys that were willing to work 7 days a week. That seventh day was all overtime. UAW, they put their kids through colleges, bought summer houses on the lakes in Michigan. The American dream, the Italian American dream, was living large in Michigan. I'm telling you, we had family in New York, but those that went on to work the factory jobs never looked back. They
Well,
absolutely.
the unions, as you said, protected them, and that's
Oh
the
my
big
God.
thing.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
they
big
all and
thing.
they all took a lot of risks because as you know, those are the years, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s,
Oh yeah.
strike breakers, fights, riots, race riots. I mean, there was so much going on, and but truly, I mean, it's why I just sort of, I try to keep my politics in check, but I'm definitely a byproduct of a union town, people with very little education, living the American dream, working their asses off and doing the best for the kids. And it was, it being raised there was just incredible. And coming back because we had family in New York, so we'd come east every summer to visit Brooklyn, New York, New Jersey, and I fell in love with it. I said, well, as soon as I can get out of here, I'm getting out of here, and I
Well,
split for the
the
coast.
next time you're in New York, call me because our mutual friend Robert Baldacci,
Yes,
you
absolutely,
got
yes.
you got to come to my house. He's been here. When Frank Costello died, he left me a 12-room apartment on 61st Street.
All right, let's just pick up right there because I was watching some of your interviews today online, and I saw the Frank Costello connection. Okay, I just came off just before the strike last year. The last thing I did before they shut the world down on us in the acting world was a little movie called The Alto Knights with Robert De Niro,
Oh,
Oh
all
yeah,
about Frank Costello. So
yep.
I play Bob's lawyer. I play Frank's lawyer, George Wolfe,
I
who
know
wrote a
George
book.
Wolf personally.
Oh
That
my
was
God. Well, I read so his book that I read like twice was the book that they used to base the script on. And we had, so I got to sit there with Bob, obviously, which was like, bucket list, check that one off.
Oh yeah.
Barry Levinson directing, check that one off.
No,
Uh, but
Barry is a good friend of mine too.
yeah,
Bobby's
I
very
mean,
close to me.
oh my,
Bobby did a forward on my last book,
yeah.
a
I
major
mean, that
forward.
group, it was the last of the white hot lovers because, I mean, it was all a bunch of old white guys.
That's
And by
right.
white, I mean Italian and Jewish. But I mean, everybody, what's his name? Erwin Winkler was one of our producers, 92 years old,
I know.
produced
God bless him.
Jaws.
Man.
Oh my God,
He
Rocky.
he
I
and
think he did.
he and Clint Eastwood are still going.
Yes. I mean,
Same
the guy
age.
gets up, he swims every morning for like 4 miles.
That's
Wherever
what's
he
keeping him
goes, he
alive.
finds a pool. He's insane. So, but anyways, I became obsessed with Costello and I did a deep dive, as did Bob. And so it was just lovely to work on a project. I think he's been sort of underserved in all the cinema, all the films and TV that we've done about, the Italian American experience in New York, the mob, all that stuff. I got to be honest, I was sort of naive about Costello, Genovese, all these guys.
But they see the older guys. Well, I'm old. I'm like you've said, I'm in my 80s, but I hit the streets when I was 13, working for Costello.
Yeah,
So
and he
really,
and he was a street kid. That was
I
the crazy
know.
thing. They were
Out of
all street
Harlem.
kids. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no. And it's and the experience I got from that man, and then went on to Meyer Lansky and all the rest of the crew. And I'm still very much involved in Sicily. I just bought a 400-year-old artesian wheat farm for my I own Corleone. I own Corleone Italian Fine Foods. If you
And
go
by the
on,
way, let's be clear. It's not you. We just bought a house. Don't be limited. Like we're all coming. Okay.
yeah,
Anybody that does the podcast has an open invitation.
yes,
Matt,
You know,
I'm in Utah. I'm in Utah, and he's always telling everyone when you're in New York, and I'm like, I can't. You guys, where do you live, Matt?
I'm in New Jersey. I lived in Manhattan for 25 years on the Upper West Side. Went to school at Juilliard up there. My first couple jobs were on soaps on the Upper West Side. 3 kids. Later,
wow.
I had to bust out, and there's this little enclave of ex-New Yorkers in New Jersey in Maplewood, South Orange, and it's awesome. I absolutely love where I live. The city's
That's
32 minutes
great.
by train.
Oh
And
yeah, the best.
it's just, I got a back. I was just sitting in the backyard cooking on the grill before I got on with you guys. My dog's back there with me. The kids are ignoring me. What else is new? But it like I miss this. I miss the city every day. It was in my DNA. It really was. And I have fantasies of retiring back to the city, and I'm not even kidding. Get rid of my car. I don't want to shovel my snow anymore. I want a super to
Oh,
come out and shovel the snow. Get a little pied a terre. I can go see my friends in plays at night, go to great restaurants, come
Oh
home and
yeah,
sleep. Yeah, right? I mean, it's the best.
it is the
that's
best. It's the
awesome.
best.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to see the new West Side Story?
The movie,
Yeah.
I never saw it. I have no desire to see it. I don't know what it's. I mean, and I can make a great example. It's about let's say 5 years from now, Johnny. Somebody wants to remake The Godfather. All of
Oh,
us are going, what? Why? Stop! Stop!
Yeah.
Please don't do it. Like this is awful. What are you doing? West Side Story was absolute perfection. It is a
okay.
absolute perfect soundtrack, score, dance, choreography, a beautiful movie. I don't know what Spielberg was thinking. I thought it was vanity. I thought it was ego, and I wanted nothing to do with it. And I avoided it anywhere I could. I just
It's
absolutely,
funny you said there was no it was perfect. So now I know, and I said to him, I said, why are you doing this? He said, I'm going to make it better. I said, well,
Oh,
should you correct one thing then? He said, what do you mean? I said, there's a big mistake in this movie. He said, what is it? I said, how could Sal Mineo walk into Spanish Harlem and yell Maria and only one chick came to the window?
yeah,
Everybody should have came to the window. Think about it.
every window.
perfect. I have a friend, she's a twin. Her mom named her Marie and Maria. I
Oh
don't know.
no,
Oh,
no. Oh
she
my
had a
goodness.
little better imagination than that. I thought, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So
That's
that's
funny.
Oh my
hilarious,
goodness.
Gianni.
That
But
is great.
but
Yeah,
Matt,
no, I
could
just
you share? I mean, you have so many credits, and I mean, from the shows, it's just the TV shows. I mean, Sopranos, hello, but
Oh,
yeah.
just
It's
for our audience who are naive or living in a cave, I mean, you've done some great work, and thank
I've
God you're still
yeah.
working.
I've been very lucky. I mean, well, I don't like that word. I've worked really hard. I was in a magazine, a big spread, I think, an Entertainment Weekly magazine with a bunch of great actors, people I love and adore. Said the hardest working actors in America, and I said I have to just work really hard because I'm not that good of an actor. I just have to work really, really hard to keep working. But
yeah.
honestly, like it's funny you bring it up because a lot of the guys I worked with on Sopranos and obviously other shows as well, including the De Niro film, like they all like yourself, Johnny. I mean, they are all very much stay in your lane actors. Like they know what they do. They do it really well. When I try to compete with them to get roles, I'm like, he's your guy. I'm not authentic. I'm college educated, theater trained. I am acting like one of these guys that many of the guys I know from the Arthur Avenue in the Bronx and Brooklyn and Jersey and everything. I said they're authentic, and that authenticity just is always going to win out. And I'm not sure I was going with that, but yeah, I absolutely. I've been, I've many of them. If the work isn't of that same ilk, they're stuck. I have been lucky enough and was kind of I diversified enough with the training to continue so I can play a lawyer. I can play the doctor, the judge, the this, the that. When the guys see me from the show, they're like, "Oh, Servitto, you're always working." I'm like, "I got 3 kids. I have no choice." Like, I think it reeks when I go into auditions. Like, you gotta hire this guy. He needs insurance. He needs tuition. Pension. Good Lord. Yeah,
Isn't
but
that
Right.
funny? People say when you work so much, you're like, I like a roof over my head. You
yeah.
got
I
mouths to feed and kids to put to college. That's exactly.
Yeah,
That's
but
awesome.
I've also even more in the last few years, I've kind of gone down the road of producing and directing.
Oh,
I just,
really?
yeah, I'm just trying to kind of, you know what, that sort of hit your mark and say your lines got old. And I love it. I mean, look, when you're on Sopranos, you are more than happy to hit your mark and say your lines and go home.
Right.
When you're working with Bob and Barry Levinson, same thing. Like great days on set, amazing work, period piece, the clothes, the cars, yeah, it was amazing. But many a day on procedurals, which is what has filled my resume, fattened up my resume. You're a cop, you're a detective, you're the bad guy who has nothing to say. You know the deal. You've done these roles, and it's like at the end of the day, you kind of go home feeling like, God, I don't feel like I did much here, or am I adding anything to this experience? But directing, producing, you were involved for a year. It's a long stretch
Oh, yeah.
of time that you were creatively involved, and I read a great quote from David Mamet that said, if what's holding you back from directing is you're concerned about the technical aspects, like you don't know lenses, you don't know framing, don't let that stop you. If you're a storyteller, and I consider myself a storyteller, he said, the guys and gals on set that know the technical will
That's
cover
right.
you. They will
You
do
hire the
so
best guys.
much.
That's
Yeah,
all I've ever done. I did
yeah.
16, I produced 16 movies, like any given Sunday, striptease, although you hire the crews. I was like you. I was saying, I don't know how to do this.
No, I
Because,
mean, I've learned, I've picked up some things. I mean, 30 years on sets, I know the lenses, I know where the camera probably, especially on a procedural, I'm like Law and Order. Here's the judge, here's the defendant, here's the lawyer. Yeah, I mean, come on, my mother could direct Law and Order. I mean, it's paint. As a friend of mine said, he said, "Look, stay away from procedurals if you can as a director. It's paint by numbers. They don't even want your creativity. They want you to replicate last week's episode. Like and I'm as a fan of certain shows, I'm like, yeah, don't mess with my show. Like I want I want to guess who did it. I want to like nothing's really that interesting visually. It is this the story is the star on so many of those shows. Even when I was just guesting in to play a few lines or even a bigger role, they would say, don't make it about you. The story of the guilt, the
right.
innocence, the Law and Order part of it is, and they're
They
right.
have a hit. They don't want you to change it.
Oh no, and listen, I mean, Dick Wolf, Jesus, man, that son of a bitch. I mean, God bless him. I said he has supported more actors in New York than the National Endowment for the Arts. I mean, he has paid more, rents and doctor payments to all these actors because his franchises have he's got all 3 shows in Chicago now.
Oh,
He
I
had
know it.
4 in
And
New
the
York.
nicest guy, too.
Oh,
I met him.
yeah,
I met him, the
absolutely.
nicest guy. The
He loves
interesting
actors.
thing, which I had a meeting, I was going to go into, I did go into, I went with Michael LaBelle and Andrew Bergman, 2 great guys.
Yeah.
So, so I meet them at Fox. They were just finishing something, and I was going to go do 3 movies with them. I did Striptease, Chances Are, and the Freshman, which was insane.
Yes.
So I said, but I got to be honest with you. I said, I don't know what I'm doing. They said, you have the best ingredient that we need. I said, what's that? Money. I gave them money. I didn't do nothing else. I just gave
Yeah.
them money.
By the way, I saw a great interview today, and I'll be interested to hear your reaction. It just randomly came up on my Facebook feed. It was Christopher Reeve being interviewed by David Letterman right after he did Superman, and he really goes at Brando in a very disparaging way. I mean, he just says he was checked out on Superman. He said, this hero, this man that could be leading the way for so many actors, being an example of talent and how to manage your career and how to explore different roles. He said, and he's just phoning it in. He said, no, come on, you're really going to badmouth him on national TV? He goes, oh, I have no problem doing this. It really was upsetting. Like there was nothing there. He just was checked out on that movie, and nobody called him on it. And he said, and that's the problem. He said the media has given this man such they don't criticize him because he's had such an incredible body of work.
It's his method. That's it.
Yeah, and I was fascinated. I've never seen another actor call another actor on their bullshit on national TV. Look it up.
You should not have done that, though. I mean,
I was both.
What's so funny? Marlon Brando at Cannes Film Festival, when that film was presented there, he was my house guest.
Oh shit!
Because Gianni Agnelli's a close friend of mine. Agnelli.
Yeah.
So Chateau Benefiat, I had it every season. So he's there because that's when he played Superman's father.
Yeah.
And I asked him a question. He said, I don't know what the hell I was doing on that
I
set.
know.
He didn't even care. He didn't even care.
I know. And that I think that, when you're a young actor and you're like your hero shows up. Look, I mean, working with De Niro, I mean, I was hoping to God it wasn't going to be a disappointment because Bob's getting up in there in age. I mean, he's right
Yeah.
behind you, Gianni, and he's,
And
I
he's
think
so angry.
and
I
he,
don't
and I
talk to him
just,
no more.
seriously,
Oh no, I met him so many times, and I go meet him. I mean, I have to wait like 5 or 6 minutes to figure out what he looks like today. He wears disguises. I mean, he's so crazy.
yeah. I mean, it's, it is, he's, I was talking to his assistants and they were like, I said, how long is it going to keep going, man? And, and they're like, forever. And about a month after I wrapped, he had another baby.
I
He
know.
never mentioned his wife being pregnant. I knew nothing. And
Right.
when that happened, and then Pacino had another one about, a month after that, I was like, oh my God, I've worked with Pacino, I've worked with Bob. I'm like, holy
But see,
shit. Like,
Matt, they're trying to catch up with me. I have 14 kids.
oh Jesus. Good night. I'm leaving meeting. Oh my
Yeah,
God. I'm just afraid
Glenn,
my wife's gonna get pregnant just talking to you. I'm good Lord. Holy hell.
Yeah. No, I've been
Uh,
blessed, man, in so
I
many
mean,
ways.
honest to God, and I've got three in 2024. 3 kids is like a lot. That's like my New
Oh
York
no, it's a
friends.
lot.
My,
No.
my New York friends thought I had like 7 kids. They're like, how are your 17 kids doing? Wait, like I grew up, I mean, like you, I grew up in Catholic neighborhoods in Detroit, family in New York with 10, 12. The
Oh yeah.
people behind us, a Polish family, I think had 15. I mean,
Oh,
Yeah.
that was not unheard of. And come on, the Mormons.
I
Oh
was
Hello.
my
just
God,
gonna
forget
say,
about
you
it. Yeah.
guys are not telling me anything. I'm not. I have four. And it's a handful. They're grown now, but the best part is to come. Those little grandbabies are the best.
Well,
You know,
you got 4 chances. That's pretty good. That's you
that's
raising your
well,
stakes.
that's
Matt, you're gonna
exactly.
love this. You're gonna love this next statement. A guy asked me this year, I'd like you and your family to come to my house for Thanksgiving.
Oh,
So I said, how big is your house? He said,
yeah,
what kind of question is that? I said, well, that's a question if you're going to have my family. He said,
right.
what is that? I said, we're 38, immediate, because my 14 kids have 10 mothers.
Oh my
And
God.
nobody got remarried. I have 10 grandchildren. Some of my kids are married. There's 38 of us. We come by bus, one bus. We fill it up.
So did you go?
No,
No. Right.
no, I wouldn't
Exactly.
burden that on anybody. Oh no,
Yeah.
I don't. I shut my phones off on the holidays. I don't talk to them. They're all nuts. My
They're
oldest,
all nuts.
my oldest kid is 65. I can't
Oh
believe it.
my God.
It was an
It was so
accident.
it was so funny. Uh, he Johnny texted me, and I said, "Oh, so what time are we going to do this?" Because I said, "Clearly you're in LA," and he goes, "Oh no, 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 no. I keep like my phone number is fake. Like I'd have too many people trying to reach me, kids, ex-wives. Like, I don't want
I
them to
don't
know
know.
where I'm at." Because I said,
Oh,
when you see a LA area code, you're like, "Oh, he's in LA. Okay, I'll leave him alone, or I'll acknowledge the time difference." He's like, "Oh no, dude, I'm a New Yorker. Like we're good. We're
yeah,
on the same time schedule."
so funny.
Too many people wanting my number. Those kids, number
Yeah,
one. Yeah, but get me letting that out. Whatever you do not share.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
So what are you hearing about the Frank Costello movie?
It's going to be out this fall.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
in
supposed
November, I think.
Yeah, it was supposed to be out in the spring of this year, so I'm not really sure what happened.
Well,
They
that's
did,
as you know, being in the business. Once that happens, they may not be happy with it. That's what I thought right away.
and I don't, and really, I'll be, very honest. I don't know.
Right.
I've done ADR on it twice. Um, I thought great supporting cast. Deborah Messing plays his wife which is very interesting
I
sitcom
can't believe
actress.
he's playing two major guys, though.
Two major roles and with a ton of makeup, prosthetic and stuff to
Right.
look different. And um, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of work for him, for all of us. And but I think he pulled it off. I thought it was pretty incredible. But uh, I was more. That's the funny thing is like my whole storyline was with Frank. But then there was a whole other group of people that were dealing with, Vito Genovese and all
No,
that
but
story.
that's funny though, because Wolf was Vito's attorney also.
I didn't know that.
I know that.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I
yeah,
know that for sure.
yeah,
You didn't play. That's why I was going to say how interesting to work with both of them.
yeah. And it
Well,
was really, I mean, truly, and really, they, uh, sort of, the reality that they created with the courtroom stuff, the trials. The thing is, this easily could have been an 8 episode Netflix series,
right.
because as you know, that story of his life. I mean, we're following Frank from the 20s all the way to the 70s.
Wow.
They really do. They go all the way from like the streets of New York. He's a little kid, all the
Yeah.
way. I think he finished in Florida, I think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it just kind of follows
No, he finished. He finished in Long Island. He moved.
Long Island.
Him and Loretta moved to Long Island. I
What was
used
crazy? What's funny is, I mean, he literally, asked the mob, "Let me just retire." Like he's probably the only guy that ever got to retire, and he became a competitive botanist. He grew roses,
oh
and
yeah.
yeah, and
Gee,
apparently there are competitions for rose growers or
Yeah.
something.
No,
So yeah, this became his.
but see what I only know this because I was with him till 73 when he died.
Yeah,
And the situation was he wanted out of this because he was making so much money legitimately with slot machines all over the country. So when he met Maya and they created the syndicate with Ricardo and them, he
yeah,
stepped down. And that's nobody knew that, but that's
yeah,
what he was doing
yeah.
behind the scenes. He
Well,
would
that's
never
kind
go
of.
to a meeting again. He never did anything.
I mean, it's amazing to me because I feel like if the Sopranos, let's say the Sopranos went 2 or 3 more years, the legitimacy that many of these guys got into, as a New Yorker, you could feel the Russian mob taking over. You could feel the Jamaican street gangs taking over. Like the Italian mob had sophisticated itself, had diversified, had got into legitimate businesses,
Yeah.
DraftKings, all this kind of internet stuff. So the whole idea, I feel like that was maybe the last generation in the 90s. I mean, I'm not saying there's still some powerful families and some grudges and a lot of things still going on out there, but so much of it
Oh, it's
really,
all been diluted.
yeah,
What Gotti did, and Spilotro did to the outfit. No, I'm very immersed, involved directly and indirectly. One of my closest friends is the boss of bosses in
yeah.
Sicily. 98. I just saw him. I go to Sicily every 90 days. Nobody knows that,
Oh,
but
jeez.
I'm a legitimate guy. I got liquor licenses everywhere. We were
Right.
just
That's
talking.
you're making my point. You're
Yeah.
making my point. You're making money the legit way. You don't need to do
And he
anything.
kept, and Costello kept me out of it all.
Yeah. Wow.
No, my first attorney, he set me up with my first attorney. He says, "You got to get a lawyer." I said, "What are you talking about? I'm 17. We don't need a lawyer, because then nobody could serve you." I said, "What you serve me what?" He says, "Listen to me," and that was it. I didn't
Yeah.
say that was it. But the guy, I mean, I mean, I can go on and on. I mean, obviously, look what I'm sitting in. The
Yeah.
dining
Yeah.
room behind me sits 15 people. We're not moving a chair.
His wife seemed lovely and
Oh my
amazing.
God, Loretta.
Yeah.
You know what I couldn't believe though, because I'm a non-smoker, I'm a health freak.
Yeah. Yeah.
They smoke constantly, constantly. I never saw them without putting out a cigarette and lighting one. It was funny. It's funny. And she was the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
But
think I don't know how much longer she lived after him because you're right. What was it, 73?
right.
May-
Oh,
Maybe
she died
70.
2 years later. 2 years
Okay,
later.
I was going to say 77,
Yeah.
75. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
See, and there was a
Uh,
warrant for my arrest or his funeral at what's her name's Frank Campbell's. He had
mhm.
a wake you couldn't believe.
Oh, I can imagine.
I couldn't go. They were looking for me around the world.
Yeah.
I snuck into the city, and across the street from Frank Campbell's is a public school. So I went in there, but I had to see her. So I saw her and all that, and I had her number. I never
Yeah.
used it, maybe 10 times. I called her while she was standing outside waiting for the limousine. And I could watch the smile on her face because it had on the phone the kid, not my name.
I'm changing you in my phone right now. I'm putting you in as
Yeah,
the kid.
yeah, the kid. It's so fun. Well, you know, when and if you come here, I hope you do.
I will come. I promise. I promise.
I have his original phone number.
Oh,
So now with these modern televisions, when the phone rings, it says Frank.
yeah, it has it up on the TV.
It's
Yes.
so spooky.
Yeah.
It's a Plaza 38171 number. I would never
Oh
get
my
rid of it.
God.
No.
Oh my God. I love that.
I walked in here when I was 13, man. 13 years of age.
Did Frank have
Crazy.
children?
No. Kids?
Right.
No, I don't think so. No
No,
kids.
never had kids. That's
You were his kid.
I'm writing my 5th book. I'm finishing up now Mafia Secrets. And now they want me to write another book. I submitted it to Mackenzie, and it's The Son He Never Had. That's the name of it.
So you're gonna let me produce and direct this? Is that what's
Whatever
going
you
on?
want, please. Let's do it.
There you go.
Let's go.
There you go.
Let's
That's
go,
awesome.
man.
Hey, well, now
that could be a great piece.
You know,
That's right.
I'll share a little you because you'll love this story. So one of the projects I've been working on with some of the Sopranos guys. So we did something about 5 years ago called Sopranos Con, and it was a whole big Sopranos convention in Jersey at the Meadowlands. Thousands of people came. The guy that ran it, I won't mention names. He's from Rhode Island. He got an Italian name. We all seem like, okay, this
But
guy.
I heard he robbed you all. You didn't get paid.
Yeah. So you've heard the stories.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
How do you
No,
not hear
carry
that
on.
story?
no,
How do you
I
not hear that story?
have been pitching this, and I want to get this made because I said there is no better fan fiction movie than
Oh my
a
God.
bunch of people from The Sopranos getting screwed out of their money
I
because
know.
we all started acting so tough. Because I'm calling that guy and I'm like, listen, MFer, I want my money. You owe me. You know, I'm getting calls from like Ray Abruzzo and all the other guys like, yeah, he owes us, man. We're gonna go take him down. And I said,
I thought of that when I heard about it. I said,
just-
what a great comedy.
right? I said the Sopranos con. He
Let's
cons
do
a
it.
bunch of Sopranos
Oh,
out of
I
money.
love it.
And I said, and we all had to start acting like mob guys, even though we're all a bunch of acters. We all had to threaten him. You know, what really triggered it, and I won't mention names, was there was a woman involved in the show who I'm very close to, and she said, "Screw him! I'm going to call my cousin in Brooklyn." I said, "Well, wait a minute. Who's your cousin in Brooklyn?" She goes, "You don't want to know, but he will go to his front door." I said, "Okay, stop." She goes, "No, I'm done. He owes me thousands. I'm sending my cousin." I said, "Oh my God, this is so out of hand and it's so great. This is hysterical."
Oh no.
I mean, so this has been a pet
That is funny
project now
though.
for a
That
couple of
is
years.
funny.
Because I said everybody plays themselves. I get Aida Turturro screaming and yelling. I get all these guys.
You know
Because
what's
really,
so funny?
we were all so pissed because he promised us the moon and he delivered. He paid the biggies. He got, he paid. That's what I said. That's what's so funny is he paid the big guys. But
Right.
then all of us on the second, so, Vinny Pastore got paid. Shariko got paid. All the other ones got paid except the second tier, he was out of cash. And so all of a sudden, because he promised us cash, we don't even have to deal
Right.
with checks. It's going to be cash. At the end of the weekend, you all come to me. I'm going to hand you like cash.
Envelope.
Put it in a bag and get in your car kind of thing. And we all show up and he does nothing. And he's like, okay, next week I'm going to send you all checks. I'm like, okay, now we're dealing with checks. Like,
Yeah.
no, you said cash. And then the next week went, the next week went, the next week went, nothing. And all of a sudden everybody's pissed. Anyways,
You know what's so
very
funny?
funny.
I just was with the whole cast at Paisano
Con.
Paisano Con.
I didn't go. I was out in LA. How was it?
It was great, but like I'm a businessman. So when this kid called me, I said, "This is my guarantee every day."
Yep.
So now the first day I'm there, they come to pick up my money. I said, "What are you talking about? This is what we keep the money." I said, "Let me just tell you something. You ever hear of Soprano Con?"
Do not touch my money.
That's
Those
right.
events,
I'll give you after I get mine, you get what you're
Yeah.
supposed to get on Sunday night. Hello.
Yeah. Here's like, I'm going to rip off some 20s and throw them at you. I mean, I've started doing, during COVID, during the strike, I started doing some of these cons, some of the shows.
Why
And
not? They're fun.
oh, they're black. And you know what? Honestly, to your point, Johnny, it's awesome because I get to hang out with my friends. Very often, it's like me, Al Sapienza, uh,
Al Sapienza.
Dan
We just had him
Grimaldi.
on the show. He's another guy.
He's
Never stops
hilarious.
working. Al
Yeah, and
Sapienza.
so that's you get to hang with your friends. Al and I did a show in Pennsylvania a month and a half ago. We laughed our asses off for 2 days. We didn't make a ton of money. We did okay. We did fine.
Right.
But I said, Al, we get to hang out on a weekend. We went to dinner that night. Al got up, took the microphone. He sang. Like, we had a blast. And I said, this is more important to me than any money I'm going to make. Hanging out, once Jimmy died, it really, Jimmy was the patriarch,
Oh my God.
of the family. I mean, to
Yeah.
use the word. And when he died,
I was in Rome at that time.
oh, you were there. You were in Italy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I felt so. Well, I have an apartment on the Park of the Principe in the Villa Borghese.
Yeah.
So I come right down. The hotel on the Via Veneto is where he was staying with his son.
Yeah, with Michael. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in Detroit for my father's birthday at an Italian restaurant. And they had the TV on in the background. And my wife points behind me. She goes, "What's going on?" And I turn around. I'm like, "What?" So I immediately called Jimmy's assistant. Started calling people from the show. I'm like, "This is not real, right? This is just fake international news. Like everybody's speculating." Like, no, he's gone. I'm like,
Well, he was getting so heavy into, as you know him.
yeah. I mean, look, those of us that knew him, Jimmy had big appetites for he loved in such a big way, food, liquor, other things, people.
Oh, yeah.
He just, there was such an appetite for life. Jimmy loved life.
Yep.
And some of those people we all know, artists, musicians, writers, so those are the people that leave us early. They just have such big hearts and big souls. And Jimmy was one of them. But his passing really kind of put a void because I went on Michael and Steve's show about, talking Sopranos. And I said, you're an interesting group because most of my actor friends are very flamboyant, very outgoing, like the spotlight. That was an interesting group because Michael Imperioli, very shy. Edie Falco, very private. Jimmy, exceedingly private. Did not do talk shows, did not promote the show. So I said, when like the first three on the call sheet are pretty private people, when you come to set or when you're talking about the show, there is this, it was a very tight knit, it was hard to break into that group. And I was there the entire time from season one to the end as an interloper because I was an actor doing other shows and then coming in to do this show. But his passing was tough because there was no one to take his place. Lorraine Bracco was the best that we had to a set mom, and she was amazing. But like Jimmy was the one that would get us together for Christmas. Jimmy would give everybody presents. Jimmy,
and he was very generous.
Oh,
I don't
so
know
generous.
what he did for the cast. I heard stories. See, I got close to him. You won't believe, in California. He used to be at the Peninsula Hotel all the time.
Yeah.
And I have an office next door. So that was my last meeting every day. I'd be at the bar, and there he was. That's how I got to know him. It's so funny.
Now you could appreciate this too, because I mean, it happened to you in your lifetime. I've never met somebody that hated becoming famous, that hated the notoriety. Jimmy hated being famous because he was such a kid from Jersey that was like the bouncer at the bar. He studied theater. He was a character actor. He did not want to be number one on the call sheet. He wants to be number 7. He wants to be the quirky, interesting character like he did in True Romance and all those other projects. He all of a sudden become number one on the call sheet. Season 1, we were fine. We could hang out. We could go to Little Italy. We could eat, drink, be merry. Everyone left us alone. By season 2, we couldn't. It was still pretty, by season 3, I said it was like being with the Rolling Stones in the late 60s. I would go out with those guys in New York City on a night on the town. Holy shit. Everywhere we went, places would shut down. They'd say no smoking. Every one of them, Shariko, Stephen Van Zandt. Who's going to tell Stephen Van Zandt he can't smoke? I mean, I'm like, they all would light up. They'd bring us, we'd be in the VIP section. Here come the girls, the food, the drinks, the dance floor. I'm like, it felt, and we'd stay out all night and you just go from one place to the next. And I said, the Stones at that time in the 90s could not have gotten a bigger reaction than
No,
James
that
Gandolfini.
series was so big, and it was funny because they couldn't even sell it in the beginning.
No, it's
No.
crazy because I always tell people that was David's attempt to get out of television. He wrote a movie about a mob guy in therapy, and he said he did I'll Fly Away, he did Streets of San Francisco, he did all these award-winning shows. He says, I'm done with TV, I'm going to write a movie. And he shops it around, and everybody's like, nah, no. HBO says, we love it, make it a TV show. He goes, no, I'm done with TV, I want to make a movie. And they're like, well, we're not interested, it's got to be a TV show.
Right.
And he said that was the problem, because there was so much time between seasons, because most often, people should know this, when you write a television show, you write, I'm sure you guys know this, what's called a Bible. You write the first 5 seasons of a show. So it's all laid out to the network, to the actors, where the show is going over the next 5 seasons. David had no Bible because it was a movie. So he barely had season 1 written out. We start shooting it. So they're like, okay, great, we love it, it's a hit, we want seasons 2, 3, 4, 5. He had not written characters that would extend out. Many of them were going to be dead within a season or 2. So now he's got to keep them alive. And then the real surprise is Nancy Marchand, amazing actress, dying on us just before we start season 3, which was the premise of the show. Everyone forgets, really, that the nexus of that show was Tony's relationship with his mother. A mob guy dealing with a mother that wanted him dead, tried to fucking get a hit on. And when she died, the show changed. And I thought I know everybody loves the show, it's an amazing show. We drifted. I mean, we've got to be honest. We drifted in some of those middle seasons, like trying to find when Tony went into a coma for 3 episodes or 4 episodes, when, we were always trying to kind of get back on course. And then I would say those last 2 seasons were freaking amazing. Amazing.
Well, let me take a quick time
This
out.
has been a great interview. Oh yeah, well,
We didn't even hit the commercials. You've been so
oh,
great.
no, I love it. We don't want to put the commercial.
I don't want.
We'll let
yeah,
Michael cut them in. Who cares? No, I mean, it's to me, it's having someone like you with the experiences that we've had, and it's so hard, as you know. I mean, and that's why I'm so impressed with your career. But we would really, because I told you I'd only keep you 40 minutes, and we passed that already. But if you would, once the show is going to air, I think the Costello, would you come back on?
Oh, hell yeah, we could talk. Oh my God, let's make a date, especially with that should be out, in
November, they're saying.
Yeah, let's make a date for the fall to come out. Keep an eye when the premiere will come, and in fact, I'll tell you even deeper stories. I just scratched the surface, but at that point, I may be able to tell more and better stories. But problem is, I'm just as interested in your stories. I was coming on tonight, and I said, I don't know who's going to talk more, me or you, because I
got to bite my tongue.
I had a list of questions I was going to ask you about your work and about what you've done, and I'm like, this guy is not as interesting as the guy normally when I do podcasts, the people are fans of things and this and that, and I'm like, I'm a fan of you, so I was going to turn the tables immediately, but I'm glad that we got to kind of.
I try
once
to.
I realized,
out of respect to you and your career, that's what this is about.
But you've got that Costello connection. I wish I could have talked to you before the movie, just on my research.
God, yeah. I mean, just this apartment tells a story in itself.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to interrupt. Is this the building? Because one of the guys went and took pictures. The building that Frank got shot in the doorway.
Oh no, that's on the west side. No,
that's on the Upper West.
Yeah, that's where John Lennon got shot across the street.
Well, we all know at the Dakota. Yeah, right. So somebody went into when we were shooting the movie and sent me pictures and said they left the bullet holes from when Costello got shot.
Yeah,
they're still in the ceiling.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
Well, the thing is, see what happened is he had about 7 of these type of apartments. There were gambling halls.
Oh.
They had tables and nobody slept here. My bedroom had 12 phone writers. I have the Alexander Graham Bell boxes on the wall yet. I wouldn't take them out.
Oh my God.
No, I left it all. So one night we're at the Copa because he went home at 10 o'clock every night.
Yeah.
One thing about him, that's why he got shot. They knew his routine. He jumps in the cab and goes home.
When I come into the apartment, I'm going to videotape it. We should just do a whole episode. You could tell me the
Oh,
stories.
yeah, we could do some stuff.
Oh my God.
And then we'll have the phone ring and it'll go up Frank Costello on it.
Oh,
And
I
it'll
love
say
that.
the kid.
We'll use, no, on his here, it says Frank Costello.
Oh, is it really? Oh my
His
God.
phone number.
That's
We
incredible.
use that as an opening credit.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Oh my God. So
But thank
so
you
good.
so much.
Oh,
for
this-
coming on. We appreciate it.
Such a great
Great
hour.
show. I knew it would be. And I know you took a lot of time out to get to you because you're so busy, thank God.
I'm working on a new show on Apple TV called Your Friends and Neighbors with John Hamm. We're just doing a couple episodes. First, this is season 1, playing John's lawyer. So we're just jumping in on that. So hopefully, when we come back and we circle back in a little while, I'll have more to say about that. That'll be airing on Apple TV at the end of the year. And I just finished an independent film called Money by Sundown with a bunch of people down south, kind of a Coen Brothers comedy. So yeah, keeping busy, and anytime you guys want me to come on, and like I said, my stories feeding your stories will be my favorite thing, because I just absolutely truly, the older I get, I'm not kidding, like sitting with somebody like you just makes me so happy, because as I said, so many, as you know, so many people fall off. We've lost friends, we've lost,
Oh my God, yeah.
yeah, right. I mean, but I just, in the end, we have our stories. We have our stories, and I love
My memories is my wealth.
Yeah, that's
Right.
it. I mean, I just was watching an interview with John Bon Jovi talking about money, and he said, what money doesn't, he said, it's just memories and being on stage with your friends and, just having a long career that is amazing. And I'm just like, my wife looks at me every day. I already took my pension. I'm on a SAG pension at this point, even though I'm still working. And I said, I'd love to be retired, but I love going to work. I still love talking to people,
awesome.
trying things, doing things. And I said, and if it means directing and producing.
Once you give up, that's it. You'll die.
Oh, you're done. You're done. You're done. No,
You lose your enthusiasm. You lose everything.
yeah. So let's just keep going. Let's keep
That's
going.
right. Well,
God
Matt,
bless
you've
you.
got
Thank
so
you, my
much.
man. Please.
Thank you,
That's
guys.
right. Yes, Matt, I was just thinking, I mean, you've got so much going on. To keep up with you, we're going to have you like every 2 months. So you can check it all
Listen,
in.
we could do like 5 to 10 minutes every other week, because
There you
listen,
go.
I'm also connected to everybody in New York, work-wise.
Thank you, Matt.
Matt, thank you
All right.
so much.
Great show. And we're
Matt-
here anytime you want to come on. You got the number now.
I don't know.
Doors open.
Do I? Just know I'm not one of your kids calling, okay?
No, I know that. No, I know that. I got you out there. Forget about
Buona
it.
fortuna.
That's
Okay,
it.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Be
Have
well.
a great night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I know. What a
Oh.
great show, huh?
Wow. We have had some great guests. I love it.
No, it's perfect.
Absolutely love it. All right.
So with that said, you heard who we're getting now. And
That's right.
I know we have Steve Sharippa coming on, Kathy Moriarty. We have some great guests coming on. But remember what we're doing for Marilyn.
Absolutely.
We have to
Everybody.
straighten out her
Right.
legacy. Please
That's
support
absolutely-
from suicide to
Change.org.
homicide. That's
Yes,
the
that's
buzzword.
right.
Suicide to
exactly right.
homicide. All right.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Change.org, everybody. Go check that out. Share that with your friends. Post it all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anywhere you're at. Please help us get that petition signed. And we are so excited to Gianni's always got something in the works. And boy,
We
this-
got to, that's what makes it fun. Good night, you all. Thank you.
all right. Have a great
night
night.
now.
And that was that. But I'll be back.
No regrets, no complaints. Lived a life with no restraints. The little kid they all counted out, proved them all wrong, that's without a doubt. Laying there with my left side numb, 5-year bout with polio, but yes, I won. From standing on corners like how many pens you want to living in a bakery, then opening my own restaurant. course, I had some help along the way. Friends like Costello that I miss each and every day. Things from many years ago still resonate.